It's Wednesday, September 10th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, the J-drama Blue Blazes.
Let's do this.
In other news, I think Scott is dying of the tubercules.
I just had
There's some tuberculin going on here.
at the PAX. It wasn't PAX Pox, but I had a scratchy throat, which I think was from a combination of talking too much, yelling in loud places, and also eating too much pie.
How could the pie cause the scratchy throat, Scott?
Because then there was too much stomach acid, and while I was sleeping, the acid scratched my throat.
Oh, so you're saying you had a for real like gastric reflux?
Well, I
recall-
didn't feel it anywhere in my esophagus, so I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I do
Anyway.
recall when we went to bed that night, you were laying there making noises that sounded like you were dying. You were just laying there like...
I ate too much pie, and bad things came out the other end.
But pie, man, how can you have so much trouble with pie?
It wasn't that the problem wasn't the fact that it was pie. It's that I ate when I was full because the pie was so delicious. Anyway, so that scratchy throat turned into mucus, which went to my nose, and then my throat, and then my nose, and then my throat. And right now, it's just mucus in the throat that my body
Captain
is...
Mucus. What? You're full of mucus.
I haven't felt actually sick at all during this whole period. I felt perfectly fine. I'm just full of fucking mucus, and I keep coughing and or sneezing it out.
At least you were...
keeps coming.
At least it's telling
and it's
that
it's not green. It's not some nasty infection shit.
Your character... I mean, your coughs sound kind of wet, so it almost sounds like an upper respiratory thing. But yeah,
it's just mucus. It won't stop coming.
I guess it's fitting that your character in our Burning Wheel game failed his health test against the cold because we're basically hiking through the Arctic.
Yep. I was able to role play with reality.
So some funny meta news because, we were last night playing Burning Wheel. And no, not to let me tell you about my character, but
let him tell you about his character.
We're a group of cultist assholes nominally reaching stuff, and we're going off into the
society.
Arctic. Yes, cultists.
Society.
The Society of Cultists.
Secret society.
So we're going off into the Arctic, HMS Terror and
It's
Erebus
Greenland.
style.
It's not the Arctic.
We're going off into an icebound wilderness to find a buried city and awaken some god that'll probably kill us, and it's going to be awesome.
That is awesome and true.
Yeah. And the fact that your character, failed his health test was funny. But so we're playing that game, and we're constantly referencing the disappearance of the Franklin expedition because
I mentioned it once.
I mentioned it or referenced it a couple times.
I didn't get those references.
Oh, you never read that book, The Terror.
I'm not going to.
You should. I'm making a book club book. I'll read it again. That book is fucking awesome.
Go fuck yourself.
The only problem with that book, and I will admit this is a problem, is that it has gruesome, 100% accurate, really up close and personal depictions of lead poisoning and scurvy. And let me tell you, scurvy is a horrifying thing.
I don't want to read about those things. I might just vomit on the book.
The worst part is that if you read the book, I didn't know it was based on a true story. So I'm reading it and I'm enjoying it. And at one point, I read this letter that someone left behind. Then I found out later that letter was actually found in the real world and that the novel was based on what they found of the missing expedition and all those people were real. And yeah. So funnily enough, turns out there was an announcement pretty much yesterday that they actually just found one of the ships.
Okay.
For real.
Under the ice?
Yes.
How'd they find it?
And in the water. They found it because global warming has basically opened up the Northwest Passage and Canada sent a ship up there to basically claim the Arctic and do all their bullshit, and they just found it straight up.
Dude, global warming is awesome.
Yeah.
We should get a ship and go find pirate ships that are basically bubbling up from the melted ice.
I don't think many pirates tried to find the Northwest Passage.
Vikings are pirates, kind of.
I don't think Vikings went that way on purpose.
Woolly mammoth fossils.
Yeah.
All of those things are valuable.
Also, fun fact, this expedition went up into the Arctic to die, and everybody died of madness and lead poisoning and scurvy.
You don't say.
The ships were the Erebus and the Terror. Erebus basically means darkness. So remember that all these men, it was 200 men, died alone and mad, starving to death and eating each other in the Arctic after being iced in for multiple years.
So Cthulhu got him.
And before this expedition, someone came to them and said,
With
hey,
a bas relief that had a depiction of Cthulhu
young
on
men, Would you like to go off into the Arctic in the terror and the darkness?
How much does it pay?
Not much.
Is there a Cthulhu on the way? Because I'm totally in the society.
So anyway, it's Wednesday. I got a sort of a geek bite because I'm complete. Like, I watched Teen Titans. I've already talked about it. That show is amazing. Teen Titans Go.
The cartoon that's mad old?
Teen Titans Go, not Teen Titans.
What year is it from?
Right now.
Okay.
I've talked about this on the show like 4 times.
Okay.
Teen Titans Go. It's new. It's ongoing. There's a new episode like right now.
I don't like any Titans or teens.
Teen Titans is amazing. If you watch Teen Titans Go. If you read the comics, they're terrible. If you watch the old animation or the older animation, they're the worst. But anyway, I've talked about that.
If you want to claim the Teen Titans is good, you must explain Wonder Girl and her.
Wonder Girl's not in Teen Titans Go, so they explained.
Okay.
I explained it.
That makes it already better than regular old Teen Titans.
Scott, Teen Titans Go is basically just Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Robin, and Starfire, and they're all fucked up people.
Only Cyborg is good. Everyone else sucks.
Beast Boy is pretty great, actually.
Fuck Beast Boy.
I think Raven and Beast Boy are tied for my favorites.
Anyway,
so
Cyborg's only cool because he's a cyborg.
Cyborg's actually really, really goddamn annoying.
Well, you know what? He's a cyborg, so
yeah, he is.
That makes up for pretty much anything.
So I'm caught up on that. Venture Brothers hasn't come out yet. I'm caught up on Adventure Time. We've talked about that a bunch. So I needed new animation to watch, just a new show to watch other than Sailor Moon.
I just asked me. I could have told you what to watch.
And it's got to be in English so I can watch it without having to watch subtitles, because I'd watch it while I'm like mopping and stuff and doing the things that adults do. So I've started watching The Amazing Adventures of Gumball.
Oh, isn't that the...
That's like the cat and the fish guy and the rabbit.
Oh, why? Oh, I thought you were talking about the piratey one.
What?
What's the show that's piratey?
Piratey?
Flapjack something.
Flapjack? No, I'm not watching that. I don't even know what that is.
I heard that one's actually good and it's piratey.
Might be. I'm watching this show. I'll show Scott a screenshot of it. These guys.
What the fuck is that? I've never seen that in my life.
Really?
Why are you watching this?
You really haven't seen that?
I've never seen that ever.
It's like one of Cartoon Network's semi-flagship shows these days.
I would just rewatch Dexter's Lab instead of watching whatever that is.
This is actually pretty good.
Okay, sure.
I am actually really enjoying it.
The only thing good about that picture is that the house has googly eyes.
So,
and there's a fish. A fish can't be bad either.
The fish actually is a pretty good
And you know what?
character.
I don't mind the Mario bushes on the front lawn either. Those are nice.
The cool thing about the show is that it's basically a combination of 2D animation, 3D animation, stop motion animation, paper cutout animation.
So basically all the animations at once.
Yes. And
that's interesting.
It's kind of like a modern Simpsons in the sense that it is the story of a family that is incredibly dysfunctional.
Sure.
And like the mother is kind of a bad person, the dad is a failure at life, and the kids, like, it kind of focuses on one of the boys, so kind of a Bart Simpson, but cross it with SpongeBob because it's got that sort of humor going on.
I'm not into that humor.
You know, it has its place. I enjoy it legitimately, and I think it's funny, and I'm gonna watch it some more, and then I'm gonna straight up review it. So guys, if you need something to watch, it's actually worth checking out, at least like a clip on YouTube.
If you're a rim type person.
Yeah, a lot of people are rim type people.
Bad people.
Rim type is strong against everything.
No, it's not. And also, nothing is strong against Spiritu.
Rim used annoying noises against Scott. It's super effective.
Yeah, that's your only attack. Annoying noise, annoying noise, annoying noise, and set clock.
So you got a news?
I do have a news. It's a tiny, simple, basic news. We've waited all summer, and patience has been rewarded. Yowapeda is coming back, season 2. We were going to find out, because that show, I don't know if people watched it after our completely 100% accurate review of it.
I'm only about halfway through it, but I really like it.
But basically, they ended season 1. And they ended season 1 not at the end of a race. Not right before the end of a race. Not at the beginning of a race. But they ended season 1 right before the end of the second day of a 3-day race. Are you kidding me?
You know what? I have no complaints about that because I was watching Escaflowne as it was coming out.
And they murder a character and then end the episode immediately, but you're not sure if they're actually murdered or not, and then you have to wait for the next episode.
Yeah, and it turns out that they did that every episode.
Yes, everyone.
Yep. And also, I point out that if you have the Attack on Titan situation, where it kind of ends in the middle of nowhere, and there's a future horizon desert where no sign of life exists for more episodes. And you can't read the manga because it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So
shows come back like October or something real soon.
Yeah.
So anyone who needs more bicycling, just hang tight a little longer.
basically, you got some time. Now is a good time to catch up on that show and be ready for the new season to come out. In fact, if you time it right, you could watch the end of the first season.
And then the next day,
It's just the next
episode will come out. And
Watch.
it'll be
season,
glorious.
Season 2 is going to start with like a multi-episode flashback.
It will be a miracle.
So anyway, things of the day. This is the DuckTales theme with real ducks. Like, it's actually really cute. That's all.
You should have just said what you told me, which is that it was a live-action DuckTales theme, and I expected it to be people in DuckTales cosplay, but the fact that it's actual ducks makes it actually really awesome and worth watching. And
This is actually like super worth watching. It's
Yes.
really cute. Also, baby ducks, really cute.
Right. So my thing today is so 80s. It's basically a supercut of clips from movies, mostly from the 80s, perhaps 90s, where there are arcade machines present.
No arcade was ever that cool.
No arcade was ever like this ever for reals, but we all wish they were, and they were in movies and TV. So relive them 80s, RoboCop, Terminator, Wizard, Tron, etc.
You know, I don't know
The more
I don't know if I
movies you
missed
can
it or
name,
not,
the cooler and more awesome you are.
because I did not see Hackers.
When was there an arcade in Hackers?
Hackers has a crazy arcade, and that's how the two main characters start to fall in love because she's really good at that game. I almost called her Trinity.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of movies that include arcades that were not in the supercut, right? But it's
only a mega cut.
Yeah, it's a mega whatever.
That's fine. You know, I want that. You know how we have like sci-fi from the 50s is like this sort of cool, like nowadays, like that's a really cool retrofuturism aesthetic. I want a retro arcadeism aesthetic like 20 years from now. Like I want that kind of arcade aesthetic to be like super retro cool.
That's already an aesthetic that's super retro cool.
Oh, to us, not to society. Go find an arcade that looks like that.
All right.
Yeah.
All
where?
of them?
Where? What arcades?
The ones that old guys are running?
The only arcades I've seen lately are the ones that are like barcade, where they're basically just a bar and they have a token number of arcade machines. So they can at least say, hey, you cool hip kids who like arcade aesthetics, come here and play. But one, it's too loud to actually talk to anyone. Two, they have a pitiful number of games, half of which don't work. And three, there's so many people in there, you can't actually even play any of the games.
That's barcade, yeah.
Yeah. I want an arcade that's as cool as the arcades in this mega cut.
Go to Retro Arcade Museum that we interviewed on this very podcast many moons ago.
That place shut down, as you
go
may
to,
recall.
Go to any of the other similar, exactly same places run by similar folk.
Yeah, not that many people. And you know what? They're usually mostly empty when you go into them. I want kids dressed like that, dancing while they're playing an arcade,
You'll
just
have to
like
hire
in these
them.
movies.
You'll have to hire actors and extras.
Now, I want people to be that cool.
No one's going to wear those shoes.
Those shoes weren't that bad.
No one's going to wear those pants.
So in the meta moment, the book club book is Canticle for Leibowitz.
I still have read 2/3 of it, so
Oh.
I'll finish it while Rim's in Singapore.
You'd better, because I've got 4 25-hour flights coming up in the near future. I'm going to read like 3 novels.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to pick my next book club book after Canticle for Leibowitz
As one of
started,
those.
and just start it like right now.
Okay.
Thinking about doing Watership Down.
Yeah.
If you so much as even hesitate, I'm just going to do Count of Monte Cristo instead.
Yeah.
War and Peace. Ulysses. And
Can we do Crime and Punishment? I actually want to read that one.
but I've read that book like 3 times. I don't need to
I've
read
read
it
it.
again.
0.1 times.
Scott, you know what? Here's the moral of Crime and Punishment. If you commit a crime, you need to be punished. And if you get away with it, you're going to punish yourself, because that's how humans work.
Yeah, that's fine.
The real moral? You're not as clever as you think you are, Raskolnikov.
Yeah, I still want to read it.
I used to use in high school, we used Raskolnikoving as a verb for someone who was doing too much with it, or someone who thought they were being more clever than they actually were.
let us continue using that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good thing because anyone who gets that is like +2 to cool.
There we go.
So yeah, other announcements. I will be, Geeknights will be, Scott will not be, sadly, at the Penny Arcade Expo that's coming up in 51 days.
In Australia.
Yes.
On the complete other side of the earth. If you guys want me to go there, send money.
Care of.
Like $2,000 or $3,000 of money, American.
Interestingly enough, I'm
PayPal to my email address.
I am doing 2 lectures. One of which is basically the solo version of how to win every game on Sunday at noon. So basically a version of what we just did at PAX Prime. And the other one is the other side of the coin. I played around with a bunch of titles, but eventually I ended up just calling it Losing. So I'm doing Losing on Saturday at 2 p.m.
You should have just changed the name of the other panel to Winning.
Yeah, I thought about doing that. Actually, I still have 4 days to change the title before they go live. I think I might just change. I don't know, though, because How to Win Every Game is a pretty good title. Like, it draws the right kind of
Make the other one How to Lose Every Game.
Except the point, I don't know. Should I go? All that's running through my head is symmetry, eh?
Symmetry. We can't resist symmetry when you are a smart person.
Let's not go to that Dr. Hibbert anymore. Do you get what I'm referencing?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
What am I referencing?
The Simpsons episode where Homer was getting like it wasn't Homer. It was a dude came in and like stole all the organs.
I know which one you're thinking of.
And there was the parrot. It's like Polly shouldn't be.
That's not the one I'm referencing, but that's actually pretty close, so I guess that counts.
Okay.
I'm referencing the one where Homer is the one that's like a Pulp Fiction sort of like a bunch of stuff happens in Springfield, and Homer gets his thumb cut off, I think. Thumb or a finger, I forget. He gets a finger cut off. So they go to Dr. Hibbert because they can't find the finger. And Dr. Hibbert's like, well, I can't fix it without the finger, but what I could do is cut the other one off for symmetry. And Homer's like, symmetry, eh? So yeah, I'll be in Australia. If you were going to be in Australia at PAX Australia, let me know.
What else are you going to do in Australia alone besides PAX?
Apparently, I don't know if I can announce this, so I won't, but a bunch of other people we know who are at PAXs, who we may have been on panels with before, are also going to be at PAX Australia.
Sure, but what are you gonna go like the Coral Reef? You can see the penguins again?
Oh, you mean outside of PAX?
Yeah, you're just gonna come right back home.
So I'm actually giving a talk at a different convention
for finance bullshit.
The week before PAX.
I'm talking about outside of conventions.
I'm gonna go to that Wilson's Promontory that you didn't want to go to and hike that fucker.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go to the beaches by Sydney.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about biking between Sydney and Melbourne, and I don't have time for that shit, so that's not happening.
You're not going to the Coral Reef?
No, probably not.
Okay, good.
I only have like 2 weeks. I'm gonna mostly do stuff like in and around Sydney, and then I'm gonna go past Melbourne all the way out to Wilson's Promontory and spend like an entire day hiking out there.
Mm.
That's pretty much what I'm doing.
Well, you'll be alone, so don't die.
Yeah, maybe I'll get some people. I think I convinced Cahill to go see the penguins.
Oh.
I was like,
the
look,
penguins
dude,
again?
I don't know if you know what? I almost want to go see the penguins again now because those penguins were really, 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 really cute.
They won't show up this time.
Yeah, the thing is, if they don't show up, I could be that guy who's there like, it's cool. I've seen him already. I've seen this. You guys, you missed it. The penguins. Oh my God, the penguins. So yeah, I'll be at PAX Australia. And then we have no conventions until PAX South, which actually is not that far away.
It's the same time as MagFest.
Which we're sadly not going to because PAX South.
Yeah. Some guy recently on Craigslist, he got a free X-Men arcade machine.
How?
He just saw it on giveaway and for Craigslist and got it.
I need to set up a thing that watches Craigslist for anyone giving away an arcade cabinet.
Sure.
That's what I need to do. I didn't know that happened.
Where are you going to put a 6-player X-Men? Or is it 8-player?
Living room. Just like right in the middle of the living room, like between the living room-ish area and the dining-ish area.
Uh-huh. Sure.
I would put it there.
Mm-hmm.
It takes up about as much space as a DDR machine. Anyway. So you're going to die or you're going to make it through the show?
So the show.
Captain Flems.
Yeah. All right. So someone messaged me on the internet and they said, my name is Omar. Well, they didn't say that, but his name is Omar. You know Omar.
Which Omar? Is that an Omar I know?
Yes, the awesome Omar.
What, Omar Jenkins?
No. Atomic Trivia War 9000 Omar.
Okay, yeah, that's the proper Omar.
The good Omar. And he said to me, you should watch this thing. And I said the thing I usually say, which is, I'll put it in that queue. And it went in the queue.
Yeah, in the queue is code for I will watch this when I'm retired with Scott.
That is correct.
Yep.
But then, as with most things in the world,
You kept seeing it around.
as with Monica,
You saw a bear poop in the woods, and then it was just bears everywhere.
and as with other things, I saw that bear not only shitting in the woods, shitting in the lake, shitting in the park, shitting in my house,
I mean,
shitting in my bed.
I saw this on I saw people
Shitting in a
talking about
toilet.
this on Twitter all the time.
I saw like a whole bunch of tweets about it, and I saw links to it, and I was like, well, this thing keeps coming up. Guess I'll pay attention to it more. It moved up in the queue, but it didn't move to the front of the queue because I got no time for that. I haven't unpacked from the woods or from PAX, and my apartment's a disaster, and my life, oh my God, I can't do
yeah,
anything
Scott,
right now.
as awesome as the woods was, you know what I did? Unpacked,
Yeah,
edited video, got my shit together.
my shit is untogether still, and I have to go to work tomorrow morning.
Jimmy's at maximum rustling.
Yeah, so, but today I was like, oh shit, we got to do an episode on something. And I said, hey, why didn't we do the episode on this thing
Well, first
that moved up in the queue?
First, I said, hey, let's talk about Sailor Moon up to this point, but Scott's falling behind on the Sailor
I
Moon
have not
bandwagon.
watched Sailor Moon since I last watched Sailor Moon, which is not recent.
Oh, yeah, so it was a brief update. Sailor Moon Crystal got slightly better with the
How
most
is that
recent episode.
possible?
So they introduced Sailor Jupiter.
Did they redo the animations?
They introduced Sailor Jupiter. Her transformation is almost passable,
No.
and she had 3 distinct facial expressions. and Amy said something funny and like smirked a little bit. So stuff might be happening. They might be getting their shit together finally.
So I'm still going to watch the old one.
Also, there's this scene where Mamoru was like, wow, there's Usagi, and she's passed out. I'm going to lean over her and kiss her. And then that scene goes on for a while, and out of context, it's really creepy. And then Luna comes over, and she's basically like, the fuck are you doing? And he's like, and he runs away. That's it. So anyway, we watched this thing.
So, first of all, I mean, I know it's Wednesday, and this is a live-action show, but it has everything to do with manga that it could possibly have to do with.
Yes, and anime.
It's called Blue Blazes or Aoi Honō or
Aoi Honō.
Aoi
Blue
Honō.
Blazes.
Probably pronouncing that mad wrong.
I don't know. Aoi means blue. I guess Honō means blazes.
I guess. The guy's name is Hono, the main character.
Yep. It's based on a manga,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really want to spoil like some of the things that happen, like why the show is
Right.
great.
So here's the deal. It's about this guy, and we found out it's somewhat autobiographical of the manga author, but it's super dramatized. It's almost as if
Oh, but you know how dramatized it is? What I can only describe as a low-rent version of the theme from Venus Wars plays in the background 5 or 6 times in the course of this first episode while he's on screen.
Right. So imagine if you had like it's the story of this manga author, right, in college, except it's super dramatized to where he's basically a hot-blooded anime hero character, but he's just in college,
like
doing
he's
college
reading
stuff.
Shonen magazine and he sees Urusei Hatsura and he's like,
It wasn't
What?
Urusei Hatsura, it was some baseball thing. 9.
no, I was talking about later.
Oh.
He sees it and he's like, Rumiko Takahashi, I respect your skill, but I don't think this is the place for that comic.
Yeah,
This
Shonen
is-
Sunday is not the place.
You are going in the wrong direction. And the whole time, like, the camera's like zooming in on him dramatically while he's like delivering this monologue to her remotely. And then the girl he's with is like, why don't you just talk to her? And he's like, yes, I will. I will send her a fan letter.
It's pretty crazy.
This guy has exactly 3 modes. He is either full on crazy, silently crazy with serial killer eyes, or completely silent reading a manga.
But everyone around him is not 100% normal, but not as crazy as him.
Except for Ano.
Sure. But like he has friends that are, otaku, that are somewhat stereotypical, but at least they're sort of like weirded out when he does crazy shit, like start yelling or running around.
Yeah, well, in the very beginning, like he's reading that baseball. He's reading this baseball manga, 9 or baseball, yeah,
9,
and he's looking at it and he's talking to himself quietly, but. It was kind of a Black Dynamite moment where Black Dynamite like looks up and sees the microphone is hanging into frame. The girl sitting on the bus next to him is like looking over at him like, "The fuck are you doing, dude?" And the whole show's like that. But imagine if there was a college and in this class, everyone who mattered to anime in the 80s was all in the same class and they were all rivals.
I think the class is real.
Yes. And that is what this show is.
Yes.
And it's really hard. So, like, it's hard
to describe. History of anime and manga plus anime and manga styling on a live action show.
I don't want to ruin the moment because there's this moment where you kind of realize what the deal with this show is. And it's basically when they make the flip books and he's like, I am the best at everything. I could just quit school right now and get a job because his girlfriend is like...
Who's not actually his girlfriend.
But kind of his girlfriend.
Badminton team leader's
Yeah,
girlfriend.
but they're going out on dates and they're friends and it's weird.
It's weird.
And she's like, you're pretty good. He's like, I'm the best.
And she's weird too. Like you can't tell if she's serious or not.
Yeah, she's like completely deadpan. And she's got 3 whooshes in her hair that really stand out.
Yeah, anime style.
Yep. And he's like, I am the best. And he makes the flip book. And he's like, I have made a flip book. The images move dynamically.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to class and everyone in the class is like flipping out about this other flip book. They're like, oh my God, you got to see what Honō did. Oh my God. And you go over there and the moment that makes this show is him seeing Honō's flip book and reacting to it, followed by Honō reacting to him in the next major scene.
Yep.
If you like anime and manga and you know something about the history of anime and manga.
The fact that that one of the characters in the show is an actor pretending to be Hideaki Anno in college.
And that actor
is already ridiculous enough.
When they show him, there's this glare on the glasses.
He's pretty much always in Gendo pose all the time.
Or in what's his name is like, I can't draw and I have no intention of ever drawing. I want to be a producer.
Yeah. But it's just hilarious how the things they're doing in the show, making movies and animations and whatever, right? But the show itself is also using the same film techniques to make the show look like a manga. And in fact, even the things their characters in the show are making were made by the people who made the show.
It's so 80s and so apt and so
But
full of
whoever's
references.
making this is just like so skilled, right? You know, the TV company, whoever.
Though at the same time, it makes it difficult to recommend this to everyone. If
you don't understand anime,
if you don't recognize
manga,
the name,
this will just be insanity to you, and you'll be like, "What the fuck was that?"
You gotta at least know who like Honō is.
Yeah, but if you're an anime or manga person, this will be the greatest thing that you will see.
So there's a moment where the crowd reacts to the film that like Honō and his team made at the end of the episode. And then Honō gets mad and yells at a bunch of people for the way they reacted. And in my mind, all I can imagine is what he was saying to people when they said, you should really make an Evangelion movie.
Yeah, so think about how...
No encore! There will be no encore!
Think about how less funny that scene is if you don't know who Hideaki Anno is. Right?
So if you have at least like a cursory knowledge of the basic history of anime and some of the names of studios and names of people, you know who Honō is and some of the things he did, you can enjoy this. If you don't know any of those things, you really should learn those things first and not watch this until you do.
Also, why don't you know those things? You're nerdy and anime, manga-ish comic enough to listen to this episode of Geeknights on a Wednesday. How come you don't know those things?
Scott, I only listen for the comic talk. I only like superheroes.
We hardly ever do that, ever.
I know.
Also, go watch Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah,
if
seriously.
you haven't seen it. I mean, are you kidding me? I should go watch it right the fuck now.
I can watch that show again.
I'll just skip work tomorrow and just marathon that motherfucker.
This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Down. I've been a fool to myself. I thought that I could live for no one else. But now, through all the hurt and pain, it's time for me to respect the ones you love me more than anything. So with sadness in my heart, feel the best thing I could do. End it all and leave forever. What's done is done, it feels so bad. What once was happy now